I've been working on a secret project for nearly a year and it launches today. Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that I love good quartz watches. And I know that at least some of you feel the same way. So it was almost inevitable that once my own brand Erebus was established, I would want to make good quartz watches with the Erebus logo on the dial. But that process, my friends, is not as easy as you would think it is. It has taken no less than 12 months to get to this stage, but today I'm delighted to show you for the first time the Erebus Ascent HAQ. These are now live for pre-order at the Erebus Watches website, link in the description of course. Stephen and I knew that we didn't just want to chuck any old quartz movement into the back of our beautiful 39mm Ascent model. We wanted to source the best possible quartz movement, and that, as it turns out, took some time. We reasoned that people who are into quartz value these movements for a specific set of characteristics, those being first and foremost high accuracy, followed by their ease of use, their set and forget nature, and their ongoing negligible service and maintenance costs. So we found a movement that we think delivers on all of those levels. That movement is the Swiss-made ETA F06.412 3-jewel caliber. Not only are these movements accurate to plus or minus 10 seconds per year, but as standard they feature a 68-month, so 5.5-year battery life. However, they can be specified with an even bigger battery, giving them 94 months or nearly 8 years between battery changes. So of course, that's how we specified the ETAs in the back of our Ascents. They are not an easy movement to get hold of though. We had to buy them up front and then wait 6 months for them to be delivered to our production partner, followed by another 4 months for prototyping, and a few weeks here and there for delivery, and you can see why it has taken a year to get to this stage. But like I said, we didn't just want to stick any old movement into these. It's a beautiful watch and it deserved the best quartz movement that we could source for it. Now there is one negative, there is one downside, that being we have a strictly limited number of movements to play with. We only ordered 300, a bunch of which are now in the back of prototypes, plus we always like to keep some in reserve, a bit of reserve stock. So we only have 270 of these watches available. Now we would have loved to have offered them in 41mm and 36mm as well as 39mm, but because it's such a small batch, we can only offer them in one size, so we went with the most popular Ascent, the 39mm. Perhaps if these all sell out quickly, we might get some more movements in and offer other sizes in the future, but that will take months if not years, and it's not guaranteed. We are offering these on our website in 8 different colours at a very special pre-order price that I'll tell you about shortly. Once we take 270 orders, we close the pre-order, that's it. There will be no stock coming in further down the track. So if you have been hanging out for a quartz Erebus, this may well end up being your only chance to get one. So then let's have a quick look at the watches, go through the rest of the dimensions and specifications, and I'll show you all 8 dial color options and let you know the price, which by the way is the lowest ever price on an Ascent. So as discussed, it's the 39mm model. We felt that it wore so well anyway, we didn't make any fundamental changes to the case. That also allowed us to use the big battery. We did manage to put a slightly slimmer case back on it though, so thickness comes down to 10.9mm. Lug to lug remains unchanged at 45mm, 20mm between the lugs. The bracelet tapers from 20 to 16 and back up to 18.5 at the clasp. Now weight as size for my 7-inch wrist, it will vary slightly depending on the bracelet, but it is around 120 grams. Crystal remains double dome sapphire with AR undercoating, water resistance remains 100 meters with screw down crown, and we've already had a good chat about the movement. We also took this opportunity to release our first ever Erebus model featuring a display case back because we thought that the Quartz Brigade would very much appreciate that cheeky little nod. Now, we did go back and forth over the design process with our production partner, and it was on their recommendation that we added that little Erebus branded battery holder, again helping to hold that thick battery in place. By the way, it's the best battery we could find as well. Of course, it's a Swiss-made Renata 395. The HAQS features the Ascent's signature case with high polished flanks, but with a brushed seam running down the middle from lug tip to lug tip. Upper lug surfaces are brushed, the fixed bezel is high polished, and as discussed, the 6.1mm crown, etched with the Erebus logo, screws down. As with all previous Ascent pre-orders, anyone who orders the HAQS will get the choice of 5-link J-style or 3-link O-style bracelet. All bracelets feature solid links with screws holding them together. They feature quick release end links and an Erebus branded on-the-fly adjustable clasp, giving approximately 1 centimetre of tool-free adjustability for comfort. Now, in previous launches, the J-style has been more popular than the O by about a factor of 2 to 1, but I wonder if the more utilitarian nature of the quartz movement will encourage people to order the more utilitarian 3-link O-style bracelet to match. We shall see. They say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, so we did very little to the dial and the handset. Why on earth would we alter something this gorgeous? I've spoken about these hands before. They really are a standout and we pay a lot for each set, but they really do make the watch so clean and so handsome, and therefore they're so worth it. As with all other Ascents, the date complication sits in a frame at 6 for symmetry, and as with all other Ascents, the date wheel is properly colour matched on all of the colours. In fact, the only thing that separates these watches visually from their automatic counterparts, apart from the tick of the seconds hand of course, are those 3 little letters in block capitals underneath the model name, HAQS. High accuracy quartz. So then, what colours are we offering? Well, again, we thought that people would be buying these for all the reasons I already mentioned, so we went for a slightly more conservative approach. We are only offering single colour enamel dials here. The 3 classics are obviously available, those being black, white and blue. We think those 3 are going to constitute the majority of orders, but we thought we should add a few more colours as well, just in case people want to buy a second HAQS or like a little bit more visual impact from their daily driver. So we have a deep and rich purple, a lovely shade of red, and an orange, all 3 of which have not been used on any other Ascent models in the past. Plus, we're also offering bright pink and duck egg blue that have featured elsewhere in the Ascent lineup and both proved to be very popular. What else to tell you then? Well, lume on these is just as good as the lume on every other Ascent. It's one of my watches. It has to have insane amounts of lume, does it not? BGW9 and heaps of it on the indices and all 3 hands, including on the counterbalance of the seconds hand, so you can see if the watch is running after dark. All watches come in an Erebus branded travel case that you can then use to pack 2 watches in, ready for adventures if you fancy. 2-year international warranty, although we reckon it is unlikely there will be any issues with these ETA movements. We now have service centres in the UK and the USA, as well as here in Australia, to make any warranty claims even more convenient. Plus you get an Erebus branded polishing cloth, Erebus branded screwdriver, and a couple of little cards featuring a photograph of a pair of idiots. What about the price then? Well, we have gone as low as we could here, especially given that it is a minimum quantity batch for our production partner, which always incurs the highest cost per unit. These are $329 US plus taxes, plus shipping, or the equivalent in your local currency. For Aussies, they are $519 and postage is included in that price. We think it's a great price for such a high quality watch and provides an option that just hasn't been out there all that often up to this point. Plus we are operating all pre-orders now on a 50-50 basis, so you pay half of the price on order and the other half maybe a week or 2 prior to receiving the watch. Talking of which, we'll be ordering these in May and hoping to deliver in early October. We still have a 100% record of delivering on time and we would dearly love for that to continue with this one. Alright, moans and niggles, you know I cannot help myself, you know I complain even about my own watches, albeit slightly gently. It's another Ascent, Jody. Change the bloody record. Yeah, okay, it's not quite what we had wanted to release in the first half of 2025. We do have a slew of new models coming through, let me assure you of that. So if you already have an Ascent or you're just not into this style of watch, don't worry, there will be plenty of options for you, plenty of new nameplate Erebus, if you will, just a little bit further down the track. Similarly, only one size. As discussed, again, not quite what we had in mind, but due to the small batch of movements and factory minimum order quantities, that's all we can do this time around. If they sell really well and there's demand for more of them and more sizes of them, then yeah, it's definitely something we'll look at in the future, but it won't be this year, put it that way. And as great as these movements are, they're not quite the ultimate quartz, are they? They're not solar and they don't have perpetual calendars. But what do you do? We couldn't find a solar caliber as good as this one, and we figured the extended battery was a kind of more than acceptable trade-off against that. Plus, unscrewing the crown once every couple of months isn't really a big deal, particularly as you don't have to hack the movement to adjust the date. We think we picked the right movement. We think we got it right. We think we perfectly matched the movement with the watch, and we hope that you'll agree. So there you have it. Beautiful, classic design, all the right specs, and now with an almost set and forget movement for years. A range of colours from mild to wild, all of them under $330 plus taxes plus shipping. I reckon these won't last long, to be honest. I'm hoping that there is perhaps a little bit more demand than even we had anticipated for a watch like this, because, as I said, it's something I have rarely seen in the market over the course of the last 8 years from micro brands, even though it's something that has really strong appeal to me personally, and I know many of you as well, and I think the Ascent makes the perfect base for a top-notch micro brand hack Garda. Having said that, if you're not a fan of quartz and yet have made it to the very end of the video, we do have plenty of automatic options currently in stock and ready to ship. Why not check out a video on them either here or here? Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again in the next one.